Good morning, all of you in Malaysia. This is Matthias Chang once again from Future Fast Forward. Well, last week, I've been approached by many people who asked me, what is the present state of affairs? How dire, how serious, and how broken is our country? They are so fed up with the news coming from the mainstream media, or rather non-news or no news, that they realize something is amiss when key issues are censored, blacked out completely from the mainstream media, television and radio. Although in the social media, those issues have been extensively covered, and they're aware of that. But they are asking me, why are all this news totally blacked out, censored in the mainstream media? And why so many institutions across the board seems to be dysfunctional, clamped down, or totally closing a blind eye to the evil that has scourged our country, to the criminality that's overwhelmed the very soul, the very morale, and morality and spirituality of our country. To each and one of them who have asked me that question, I've summed up to them, as I've said in many video speech before this video speech and addressed to you, that our country is totally broken to the very core. Our soul is blackened, pitch dark, blackened. And there's no longer anyone within the hierarchy or within the realm of the religious authorities of whatever religious denomination has there come forward as shepherds of the flock, as the guide for all of us in this time of crisis, to show the light and the way forward. But today, beyond that, I want to draw to your attention some of the practical methodology, means in which the criminal cabal and the regime has unleashed to create this state of affairs. My conclusion, and I'm very sure that you will come to the same conclusion after my address, is that all institutions in Malaysia, all without exception, at the federal level, at the state level, have been weaponized to attack critics of the Najib regime, to intimidate the rakyat, and to enable the criminal cabal to get scot-free and do what they want for their crimes. I repeat, and I hope it will sink into your mind and remain tattooed. All institutions have been weaponized. The word weaponized. That means all institutions have been subverted to use as a weapon, as a tool, okay, to attack, to intimidate, to subvert, to undermine our country, our society, you and me, our children. And if it's not resolved, it will hang on like some sickness, some pandemic to our future generations. Instead of laws being faithfully adhered to and executed objectively, all our relevant institutions have chose, under the direction of the criminal cabal, to enforce for public consumption as if they're doing something, as if they're doing something about criminals, enforce certain laws and target certain people as an example. For example, the expose of the millions of cash stashed by two senior officials of the water department in Sabah. A big crime, a huge crime involving a lot of money, but pale in comparison to the billions robbed, stolen, money laundered, racketeered, and hidden overseas, now the subject matter of criminal investigation in 7 countries. You see? This is a prime example how they choose to enforce certain laws against certain people, scapegoats, patsies, to give an illusion that they are upholding the law. But the same law is not enforced, executed against the very culprits, the very criminals who are in control of power, without directing this pantomime, this wayang kulit. And other laws are ignored because it doesn't suit them to enforce and execute those laws. For example, those people, take for example directors of the Sabah Water Department, they robbed and stole millions, in the hundreds of millions. Alright? They're not suspended from work, they still go back to work as reported yesterday. They have not been charged under section 124 K and L of the Penal Code in conjunction with SOSMA, having laundered so much money, must be through the banking systems of Malaysia and banks, of sabotaging the banking and financial services of Malaysia. Monies lawfully transmitted by the federal government for the people of Sarawak has been money laundered, stolen, hidden. But they are not treated as criminals, as terrorists, and for sabotaging the federal system. But can you see now the comparison with regard to me as a lawyer and my client Dato' Khairudin for reporting those crimes with regard to the billions stolen, money laundered, racketeered, hidden. We are charged under the Penal Code for sabotaging the Banking and Financial Services Act and treated as terrorists and locked up in jail until we have been temporarily released on bail, pending appeal by the Attorney General to the appellate courts, the Court of Appeal, which is coming up for hearing on the 14th of November. Let's see what they will do to me and my client. But let's be assured, my fellow Malaysians, if they are willing to submit the law further and to incarcerate me and my client, let me assure you, we will fight with dignity and will uphold the law without fear or favor. And our incarceration again will demonstrate to you how ugly, how filthy the cabal and the regime has subverted the law, undermined the law, trash it, and throw it to the rubbish bin. Now today, I want to stress one very important issue, fundamental to any society: the issue of justice and law. In my past addresses, I've quoted repeatedly to the whole country, citing the great Allah, guidance to not only Muslims but to everyone. That justice is second next to piety. Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayat 8. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 8. Where God commanded the injunction, your first duty is to God, your second duty is to uphold justice. And see, justice prevails. Justice is not in isolation, it must be in context of the laws of any country. Why? Why law and justice is so fundamental to you and me and to the entire country? Because without law, we are barbarians, we are uncivilized, with anarchy and lawlessness. The principles of the twin pillars of justice and law go hand in hand. They are two sides of the same coin. For the law applied with justice constitute the entire tapestry of a society. Let me emphasize again. Embodies the entire tapestry of a society. So whosoever destroy any laws, subvert and destroy justice, and promote injustice, undermines the law and justice, in essence, subverts, undermines, and destroys society as we know it. It is a universal principle that all of us are equal before the law. That means the rich, the billionaire, the poor are equal before the law. The duty to adhere to law applies equally to the rich and powerful as well as to the poor and meek. The law applies equally to rich and powerful who breaks the law and must be arrested and charged in prison, as well as the poor and the meek. This equality of the law is the glue that binds us together, that provides the glue and the substance, the very foundation for which we exist as members of a civilized, law-abiding society. If we don't have that, we have nothing. Even animals follow and hear the natural law, the law of nature. If you watch Discovery documentation, films, on the internet, over Astro, you will see even animals, when they prey and attack other animals, it's only for survival, for food. They have the power to kill many animals. For example, a lion attacking the buffaloes. They don't kill 10 or 20 at one time. They just kill one at a time so as to feed and survive. That is a natural law. But we are the higher being. God gave us a free will. God gave us a choice to obey His commandments, the ultimate law. And that law guides us in whatever we do. So we cannot follow, as now propounded by the Kaaba and the regime, the law we like, and don't follow the law we don't like. We apply the law on other people, but not the law, the same law on us if it is to our disadvantage. That is not law. That is not upholding justice. So, the principle of equality before the law is very important. Now, why did I say that all institutions have been broken? to the point of being irredeemable. Unless this evil, this scourge is done away with. It's because, I'll give you an example. The entire legal profession, we are bound by the Legal Profession Act to uphold justice without fear or favor. Yet, while the President Bar Council has demonstrated his commitment to upholding the rule of law and to fight injustice without fear or favor, sad to say, the bulk of the lawyers carry on in their daily lives as if nothing has happened. I receive emails every day from Bar Council through the email list. There are numerous forums. How to register a charge, how to do this contract or that. In this time when the whole country is crisis, lawyers are not even bothered to come together to find ways and means to educate the entire country and to warn the country that law has been now weaponized to destroy, to subvert us and our society, to destroy our constitution, the supreme law. That to me is the final evidence that we are totally broken. Because if the lawyers who are by law, the Legal Profession Act is to guide and guard the rule of law, that is our first duty as lawyers, without fear or favor. And to come forward to the front ranks of the riot to do that, to uphold the Constitution. And they have not done that, save a few leaders of the Bar Council. The rest, sad to say, have betrayed that duty. And I hope they'll wake up in due time and rise to the occasion to do what is expected of them. If they fail to do that, I rest my case. Because this is the last bastion for our country. Last bastion. We have failed, our country is broken. And the regime will continue in their ways, their evil ways, to rob, to plunder, and to destroy our very soul. And there's a simple choice to all of you. And this choice must be exercised by you and me. And we must demand those who are empowered by law to carry that duty or their oath of office must likewise choose and be on our side or be against us. And the choice is very simple. You either choose with the eyes closed, failure, lawlessness, destruction, shame, and humiliation. That's the choice. By your own action, by closing one eye. Or, with eyes wide open, we choose success, progress, justice, equality before the law, self-respect, and dignity. But not only for ourselves, but our future generations, our children's children, and ever after. Simple choice. Now, why do I say this? Why have I been repeating and repeating and repeating all these points? Because despite 37 video addresses and despite other leaders coming forward to speak, there seems to be a fog that's clouded their minds, their eyes, and initiative. Why it's happening is very simple, I think, and I believe. Because people are generally ignorant of what is fundamental to our country, to them as an individual, to them as a family. and to all of us as a larger family, be the national family. So what I'm going to do is now, as before, and to enable all of you to use my address and what I have before you as a guide for you to discuss with your family, friends, and relatives. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about and show to you some what wise men have said in the hope that they will be guide, signposts, and help you find your way if you are lost. The first is this quotation by Montesquieu. Okay? There is no greater tyranny than that which is perpetrated under the shield of the law and in the name of justice. Second, those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. I will pause for 15 seconds so that you can take down this quotation, press the pause button on your video or handphone or your TV. I repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Think about it. Isn't it true what's happening now? Think about it. It's so absurd what they are doing, but they say they're innocent. Therefore, nothing is unlawful. That's where atrocities will happen. Okay? This is a very important quotation to bear in mind. The second by Voltaire, a French philosopher. Next, very true. Laws are spider webs through which the big flies pass and the little ones get caught. Is it true? Small criminals are caught, big ones get away with it, time after time. The robbers in a shopping mall, the snatch thief, are in prison. But the money lender of the multi-billions are scot-free. Balzac, another philosopher. It is not unpatriotic to denounce injustice committed on our behalf. Perhaps it's the most patriotic thing we can do. Neri, in his book Brushstrokes of Catfly. But we are told by the regime, we can't criticize the government. We must support the government. Otherwise, we are unpatriotic. Bear this quotation in mind. It is not unpatriotic to expose the criminality of the regime. Once again, I will count 15 seconds to give you time to take it down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But most important to me, I think, is the wisdom of the great Russian author Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who wrote the book The Gulag Archipelago. In keeping silent about evil, and most of you are doing that, especially lawyers of the legal profession, in burying it so deep within us that no sign of it appears on the surface, we are implanting it, and it will rise up 1,000-fold in the future. When we neither punish nor reproach evildoers, we are not simply protecting their trivial old age, we are thereby ripping the foundations of justice from beneath new generations. I want you to pause and think about this words of wisdom. You can't keep silent about evil. If you do that, you are planting the evil and laying the foundation of evil for the future generations. Again, I will count 15 seconds for you to copy down those words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And finally, I will bring to you attention 2 quotations of Martin Luther King. Because we are accused of opposing, exposing evil. He said, any individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice is in reality expressing the highest respect for law. And he goes to say, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And once again, I will count 10 seconds for you to take it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's why, let me assure you that my client and I, should we be incarcerated again, we do so willingly, knowing that our imprisonment will arouse the conscience of all of you to stand up and fight against injustice and uphold the rule of law and the principle of equality of the law. Because the penal code and SOSMA are unjust laws, and they must be exposed as such. If we have to pay the price of imprisonment to arouse our conscience, we submit and surrender to the will of God willingly. And finally, may I bring once again to the attention of everyone, especially the Muslims, who form the majority of our people in the country, who now wields unlimited power to weaponize institutions to enslave us. This is a famous quotation from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. He said, there are 4 characteristics. Whoever has all of them is a true hypocrite, and whoever has one of them has one of the qualities of a hypocrite until he gives it up. When he's trusted, he betrays. When he speaks, he lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he disputes, he resorts to slander. As reported and quoted in Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslims. Therefore, a Muslim who has true Islamic sensitivities avoids deceit, cheating, treachery, and lying, no matter what benefits or profits such activities might bring him. Because Islam considers those guilty of such deeds to be hypocrites. This is a very strong commandment, not to lie, not to betray the trust, and not to resort to slander, which the present cabal and regime is inflicting upon the right of Malaysia. I will leave this passage again before you for 10 seconds. And 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And finally, 2 more quotations from the Quran, which I believe will be further signposts for us to act in accordance with God's commandment. Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 42. And cover not truth with falsehood, nor conceal the truth when you know what it is. Surah 39 Al-Zumar, verse 3. God guide not such as are false and ungrateful. Once again, I leave this passage for you to take it down in 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the commandments of God from Allah. Likewise, to non-Muslims, I believe in the Bible, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads, in Dhammapada, in all Taoist scriptures. Similar commandments and injunction is there for you to follow. So, given these injunctions and commandments, how can all of us choose to close an eye and not follow them? Do we not owe a responsibility, not only to ourselves, but to our children, our family, and our future generations? I would urge all of you to come forward to do your duty. Be courageous. You will notice recently that the Attorney General of Switzerland has given 2 press statements last week or so, and before that, last year and this year, beginning of this year. May I suggest to you that the Swiss Attorney General exemplifies the courage of a man who holds justice and the rule of law without fear or favor. Why? Because he has taken strong action to prosecute the criminal cabal members, overseas members, who helped launder, racketeered 1 MDB billions. He went on an attack against BISI Bank and now the Falcon Private Bank. All the criminals associated with these 2 banks are brought to justice. And you will notice that these 2 banks were money laundering the Arabs' money, the criminal Arabs. And you know, they are Saudi Arabia, Qatar. These same Arabs who profess themselves to follow the Quran, in fact have been using the corrupt money to wage war in Middle East, to incite Muslim killing Muslims. And by their action, as recently exposed in the emails in the United States during the presidential election, they have used these monies, these Arabs, to pay the Clinton Foundation, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, for favors. And they used all this corrupt money to wipe weapons and to finance ISIS war in Syria and Iraq. Yet with all that money behind them, the Swiss Attorney General must be open, must be under tremendous pressure to relent and not take action. But he stood firm and he went ahead. He even went against, together with Luxembourg colleagues, against the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family. Because one of the Rothschild bank, the private bank Edmond de Rothschild, and the CEO Ariane de Rothschild, was hauled up, and the CEO, the wife of Baron Edward Rothschild, had to step down as CEO. To take all the Jewish money is no easy task. Would frighten a lot of people. Yet, these law-abiding officials of Switzerland and Luxembourg dare do that. And I take my hats off to him. To take the might, the financial might of the Rothschilds and the Wahhabi Arabs shows their faith in God Almighty and a sense of justice. And I hope their example will inspire you. And what a contrast we have to Malaysia. And before I conclude, I want to tell you, I've uploaded some videos concerning the bankruptcy, the corruption of the Clinton machinery and foundation. And Hillary is standing for elections as the president. And the modus operandi, the way they rig election, the money politics in buying votes, is no different from what's happening in Malaysia. Pay for play money politics. Alright? So, hope you watch those videos, read those articles in my website, www.futurefastone.com, and use those exposing what has been exposed by WikiLeaks. Learn from those experiences and apply to Malaysia and prepare countermeasures against potential rigging, money politics on massive scale, and violence. It's already come out that there were emails from Hillary Clinton directing her people to incite violence against Donald Trump's campaign. Violence. When there's any rally by the Donald Trump campaign, they will send thugs, hooligans, to incite violence. Are we not seeing the same thing in Malaysia? Thugs, political gangsters deployed, death threats. I too have received death threats. But let me tell you, I'm not making a police report. You know why? If I've challenged on one occasion a person who uses death threat to me to put his picture in my website, in YouTube, his NIC number, his address, and I challenge him to go to Dataran Merdeka to face me one-on-one. That's the only way you can beat those criminal bastards who use such threats to intimidate. By the way, let me tell all of you, I'm not brave, it's common sense. They too have a life, you know. They think that by telling us we are scared of our life, they too have a life. In self-defense, we can take them on in self-defense. And they see where they will run and hide. These criminal elements. Fear not. For as I said before, many times, surrender to the will of the Almighty. Have faith that He will protect us, defend us, and guide us under all circumstances in the face of all enemies and adversities. With God on your side, I'm telling you from personal experience, these thugs will run the tail behind the legs like dogs. That's what you need to do. Stand up as one, stare at the face of your enemies, and tell them, you bloody well piss off. Or else, you will have to face the ultimate punishment from God Almighty. But on earth, when we triumph over evil, your evil, the evil of the cabal, the regime, let us assure them they will end up behind prison bars. For we will uphold the principle of quality of the law. And we will ensure that justice will prevail. Truth will prevail. With that, may I thank you all once again for your attention. And I hope you will do your utmost, for we are near victory. To do your best to come behind all those activists who are now risking everything to fight for your future and your children's future. Thank you very much, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. And God bless all of you.